Okay, so hello guys, I'm Fain Fernandez and I'll be explaining what is feature. So we saw Lokik and Raj talk about the kernel and then the convolution of it and then how we get the features. So basically what features do we need for our model to go on forward with? So there's a small example. As you can see now, there are many features that have been collected because for every kernel there is a feature map. Now, as in the representation, you can see there are a lot of features, and then you select some features of 9, and then afterwards you again downsample it and take only 2 features, and then you predict that if it is 9 or not. So this is just a basic visualization. You won't understand much. So Raj, next slide. Yeah. So again, it's a visualization of the kernels and how we perform the convolution. So as Raj said that for each kernel, we have a feature map. So as you can see, we have 4 filters over here, filters of kernels. And the first filter is for detecting the top edge. The second filter is for the left. The third one is for the bottom. And the fourth one is for the right. So yeah, this is just a visualization of how the image, the input image will be shown after the convolution layer. Yeah. So at the bottom, you can just see the visualization. So Raj, next slide. Yeah. So now this is very important. The visualization is very important for you guys to understand what the initial layers of convolution detects or recognizes. So as you can see on your right hand side, you can see the number of images and in each grid. Okay, so now on the right hand side, the first grid is about lines and there are some turning lines and all, and you can see the features that are detected by the initial layers. It's just normal edges, lines, and you can even see some pictures having some curves. So you can see the curves and all. So in the initial layers, what the convolution layer does is it only detects in very basic elements such as edges and then curves and some points. Yeah. Raj, next slide. Yeah. So as we move on forward with the layers, so once we get an output from the initial convolution layer, we pass it to the next layer. Now in the next layer, the layer is already learned that it has its edges and all. Now it's learning more prominent features. So as you can see the dogs, the model is being able to detect the very important features of a dog. As you can see the nose, okay, so it has been recognized very properly. And then if you would see on the fourth row second column the duck's picture, where you can see the feet being recognized by the model efficiently. You can see the feet now. Yeah, so this is very important to know what features we are going to use or not. Now I know that you guys didn't understand much and all, so I'll stop talking and let someone else tell you what it is in detail. So Raj, can you play the video?
एक कुर्सी खरीदने से पहले हम कितनी सारी कुर्सियां देखते हैं, कितनी सारी कुर्सियां ट्राई करते हैं. And yeah, some kursis are comfortable but look like shit. Others look nice but are hard on the bum. So the process starts. Kursi after kursi after kursi. How many kursis we check out before we find that one kursi? So my point being, एक कुर्सी चूज करने से पहले अगर हम इतनी सारी कुर्सियां देखते हैं, तो एक लाइफ पार्टनर चूज करने से पहले हमें ऑप्शंस नहीं.
So now coming on to feature, I'm talking about a lot of feature. So what is feature selection? So now basically, as I've told you, the initial layers will detect some common elements like lines and edges, and then we go on moving on with the layers where the model will learn and learn and learn, and then at last it will be able to classify the image. Okay, so yeah, there's a very great quote over here with many features come great feature selection. Yeah, so this is what feature selection is. Now how to do this feature selection, what are the the functions or what we have to do. So the layer that is responsible for this feature selection is the pooling layer. So Raj, you can move forward. Yeah, so what is a pooling layer? So the pooling layer, what it does, it downsamples the input image, which in turn reduces the number of parameters, and also it pools the most prominent features of the input image. That is the feature map after the convolution layer. So now you might ask, why do we need to use this pooling layer? We already have a convolution layer that again and again takes the features. So what basically after the convolution layer, what image that you get is that the feature map is very sensitive to the position of the whatever that you have detected over there. So what the pooling layer does it downsamples the image and we apply the types of pooling in it and we only get the most prominent feature. And this most prominent feature will help the model to again what we say select features and the model will be more robust to the positions of the object that you need to detect later on. So for example, as everyone is talking about cat, so even I take cat. So imagine in a picture, you have the cat on the top right corner. Now after the convolution layer, the edges and all will be on the top right corner. Okay, so now the model knows that it's in the top right corner, but we don't want that. We want the classification of a cat as it is, wherever the cat is in a picture. We want to classify it. So this is the reason we use a pooling layer. In the pooling layer, it takes the prominent feature of the whole image. Okay, it neglects the other features. Only the prominent features it takes it. So now in pooling layer, we have four types. Raj, can move forward. Yeah. So we have max pooling, average pooling, global max pooling, and global average pooling. Now I will explain them in detail. So Raj, thank you for the slides. I'll move on to my Jamboard now. Yeah. So Raj or Loki, can you just tell me if my screen is presented?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So coming on to the max pooling. So here we have a focus for matrix over here. Okay. So in max pooling, what we do is if the matrix is in the form of focus 4, we take the like a pooling kernel of 2 cross 2 or a patch of 2 cross 2 and we stride it over the whole image like 2 comma 2 because here we have a 4 cross 4. Now if you have a 6 cross 6 matrix, we use a 3 cross 3 patch. So now first we'll take the first patch and then we find the maximum value over here. So the maximum value over here is 4. So as you can see here, we have taken 4. Then we take a stride of 2. And then again we come to the next patch. And then over here it is 8. Then again we take a stride of 2. And then come here. Again the highest value is 6. And then again we come here and the value is 9. So this is the output that we get after we do max pooling. Okay, now we'll be asking what about the other values over here? What do we do with these? So we neglect the other values because what max pooling does is it takes only the most prominent feature of the from the feature maps. It neglects the other values. And yeah, this is all about max pooling. Then we'll move on to average pooling. So with the word average itself, we'll come to know what is average pooling. So again, we do the same thing that we did in max pooling. Take 2 cross 2 patch, stride it with 2, and then we get the average of the first, that's 2.75. Then the next average of this patch, and then the next average of this patch, and the next average of this patch. So we will be getting different values, and this is the average pooling. And in average pooling, what it is, it even takes account of the less prominent features. Okay, so yeah, this is average pooling. Now the next one is global max pooling. Now in global max pooling, what we do is again we apply the same thing, 2 cross 2 patch and all, but the thing over here is we take the maximum value of all the patches and find the maximum value in it. So now the maximum value we have found is 9. I hope you guys understood that we have taken the maximum value of the first patch, second patch, third patch, fourth patch, and then the maximum value out of all of it. So we get the 9. Now this is not used much because as I said before, like we lose very important features if we just take the maximum value of or the whole feature map. It's no use. It is like the flattened layer, which will be explained later on. Yeah. And the global average again is the same thing. We find the average of each patch, and after finding the average of each patch, we find the average of all the patches, and then we get a value. Okay, so I took the average of all the patches and then after I computed it and then we get 4.3. So yeah, this is the value of the average pooling. So yeah, this is all for the pooling layers. Now I'll come on to what is parameters and hyperparameters. So you guys know what basically a parameter is, and I've seen a lot of people getting confused on what is a parameter, what is the difference between hyperparameter and parameters. So basically what a parameter is, it is internal to the model. Okay. When it is internal to the model, it helps to estimate the outcome or the prediction of the model. And also the parameters also tell the skill of the model, how good it is or not. So basically these are parameters, and the examples of it are the weights of uh, of the model. Okay, now where hyperparameters come into play is, now hyperparameters are those values which are external to the model, which help in uh, tuning the parameters of the model, where the parameters help in predict for the prediction and all, and it is learned from the model itself, but hyperparameters are used to tune these parameters. So this is the basic difference of parameters and hyperparameters, and always remember that for hyperparameters, you have to always be careful. Like you have to choose the correct hyperparameters to tune it. So we have the learning rate, the epochs, the batch size. These are all the what we say the hyperparameters that are used for tuning. Okay. So this is all from my side. Okay. Now I'll just briefly uh, tell what was pooling again. So basically pooling is just the downsample of an image where it pools the most prominent features which will help decreases the number of parameters and also neglect the occurrence of an image, okay, being sensitive to the position in an feature map or so on. Okay, so I hope you guys have understood what is pooling and what are the types of pooling, and you'll be able to know what what you have to use in your model, like max pooling or average pooling, or if you want to use global max pooling and global average pooling.